So once you've done all of that, your specific goals, then you've scanned each department, given their own kind of functions, has gathered information about the players, let's say the people, the services, the service providers that are potentially there. They're not choosing, as I said, right? So you're not mapping. Now, based on the information you've gathered, you select and you target, right? So again, imagine we're talking about the armed actors, which is easier. We should have compiled all the names and information about these groups that we can. Not just the name of the commander, If it's about the elders, we will have a list of all of the different community leaders and elders, what size communities they lead, what they're like, and as much information as possible is the point. Not just names on an Excel sheet and then a telephone number, That's just like gathering contacts. This is not about gathering contacts. This is about gathering information. Even, I would say, gathering intelligence that will help you to make informed decisions about the who, and then informed decisions about how you're going to engage. The more information you have about a person, a group, a company, or whatever, the better prepared your engagement strategy will be, right? As if you don't know anything about the person. Rule of thumb is never engage until you are prepared, unless it is completely unavoidable. It is a common error to engage without being unprepared. We're often there for just a few weeks and immediately we're calling up everybody to go and introduce ourselves and explain our mandate to them, right? That is not the most optimal way of starting out your engagement with people in a new place, right? It can wait. If there's somebody that can't wait, understand why they can't wait and prioritize them. But going around, this was the typical thing, to do the rounds, and I've done it, just like, because that's what we think we have to do, is going around, we introduce ourselves, we explain why we're there, and we explain our mandates ad nauseum. Okay, that's not what I recommend. If you have to do that, do it, but be careful you don't burn anybody important by doing that before you're ready. I recommend, if you can, waiting for the information to be gathered first. Information that's not in people's heads, it's compiled, it's written down. That is, if you want effective engagement. You have to do this. It's work, it's hard work, but things done well involve hard work. You can't just be in an armed conflict zone and not expect to have to do any of the heavy lifting. But it's, if you delegate, like I explained in the last video, it's a team effort. It's not going to take months. I've seen field coordinators take months and months and months just to do an actor mapping. And then for what? With no engagement strategy whatsoever, right? Just security management, and there's still no strategy. So prioritize, delegate, and then target. So how do you target? You have to have the information. You've already prioritized. You know your importance of your hierarchy of importance. You know your time sensitivity. So your goal hierarchy. So you start there. Okay. For each area, logistics, transportation, whatever, finance, programs, each one will have their prioritization. Okay. That's how you do parallel prioritization. So you start there. If you need a location to run your programs from, okay, that's obviously going to be one of your priorities, an office. So you will look at all of the options on the list that you've compiled with all the information about each of these options, and say you would select some of the names that seem to be best fitting your needs based on the information, and not on what somebody says on your national staff, based on objective information that has been collected. So say select 3, 4, 5 companies or people, depending on the importance, that meet your criteria or are close to your criteria. If you're looking for a location, it'd be state agents or people renting out private people. So again, That's why information is so key, because you're going to choose objectively and the information should have been gathered according to your criteria, not just randomly. Okay, so I'm not going to put on the list, or I'm not going to target a state agent that doesn't rent the type of space I need, right? So if my needs are large area, then I'm going to target only people that rent large areas, right? So obviously you will ensure that this is all objective, impartial, etc., etc. The longer the list of potential service providers compiled, the more people you should target, right? So if you have a list of 25 potential service providers for something you need, don't just select 3 people, especially if you're in a smaller location. Why? Because then you will start off by rubbing people up the wrong way, i.e. the other 16 who didn't even go and visit. Again, obviously if you're in a big city, it doesn't matter. But if you're in a small town and there are like 10 providers of something, then it's better to visit the 10, yeah? Because if not, yeah, unless they don't have what you are looking for, and then you can explain that to them. So once you've done that, you've chosen however many people you're going to target because they meet your criteria. Before you do anything else, don't just get on the phone and let the admin person go off and have a meeting. Figure out what is your engagement approach or your strategy or your tactics for this particular category. So let's go back to the example of I need to rent an office space, right? As I said, you will be clear already on what you need, more or less where you want it to be, different considerations, maybe security, maybe close to airport, whatever, your critical criteria. You will know what compromises you are prepared to make regarding your criteria. If the perfect building doesn't appear on the market, then what are you going to do? What are you going to compromise on? You will have thought about this before, and of course you will know your price range in advance because you will have gathered information about the market prices. Most importantly, you will gather information on the person you will meet, or if you can't do that, their company. The maximum information possible. So you will have to ask people who know them, right? And not in a secretive way, in an open way, right? So why are you doing this? To figure out, okay, what is the best approach to take with this person, right? Culturally, stylistically. And then whoever's going to meet the person, doesn't always have to be the person in charge. Yeah, you will decide who is the best person to go to this meeting. You will prepare it. And this is the step that is most often skipped. No preparation. And is one of the biggest mistakes. If you don't prepare, yeah, if you're not informed, how can you have an effective engagement strategy? And also, you must understand your role. Yeah, your role changes depending on who you're meeting and why, right? So in this scenario of looking for a building for your office, you are not an NGO doing good in the community. You are a potential customer, right? And understanding your role will help you frame your approach, because that is how the person will see you, as a prospective client, a prospective customer, not as, oh my God, how great they're going to do water and sanitation. So you adapt your approach to, okay, it's a business transaction. You're a potential client, and for them, you're a potential client. So your introduction should be culturally informed. You should prepare a list of questions that you want to ask about your criteria. You must decide how you will end the meeting. For example, if you're not interested, if they don't have what you need, how are you going to do it? What is the cultural coding? And this should all fall to the person who is in charge of the thing. So it's if a house, cars, whatever, delegate it to the person in charge of that. Do not micromanage. If not, how are people supposed to build engagement skills, but oversee and support to make sure it's done correctly? Make sure that you ask your teams who are doing this engagement preparation clarifying questions. Make sure they're prepared. Make sure they're not just rushing off in the car to have a spontaneous meetings with 10 potential buyers or sellers. Then we continue. So you've done the preparation, you would arrange the meeting when you're prepared. This is a fact-finding mission, yeah, of a business nature. As we said, we're framing this particular scenario of looking for office space as a business transaction. Yeah, your goal is clear, and you want to see if they have what you want, and then if they do, you will enter into negotiations. That is the engagement type. Business, getting what you want at a fair price is your goal. Market price, not the price somebody put on your Excel sheet. Then you engage, your engagement morphs into a negotiation, right? So you see how you go through the different stages and the different things. You might negotiate on the first meeting. You get your information, you go away, you meet somebody else, and then you compile the information, and then you decide what it is you want, and then you would prepare your negotiation. So know that the type of engagement and your role changes throughout. Yeah, the persona that you become, like in this example. Yeah, potential customer. It's a transactional. It's a potential negotiation. Targeting and framing adequately is key to effective engagement. If you always think you're a humanitarian, that's not going to work. Yeah, you have to see yourself differently and see yourself as the other person you're interacting with is going to see yourself and frame you.